Greetings! Welcome to the devlog for update 112 of hot dogs, horseshoes, and hand grenades. We're going to start off as always with a quick sound check. Make sure speakers aren't up too high. Wonderful. So what have we got for you this week? Well, we got a couple new toys, and as promised last week, a extended devlog where I go over the trip that I just did with Vegas, the meetup we had with a couple members of the community, and some further machine gun shooting that I did later that week. But let's take a look at the toys first. The first thing I've got for you is just a bit of a mod, a bit of a adjustment of an in-game gun to make a variant that I'll be perfectly frank, I saw it in Tarkov and I was like, hey, wait a minute, I can put one of those in. And that is as I knock it on, it's so long, I hit it on the shelf, the AVT-40. Which is very, very similar to the SVT-40, except for the fact that it has a different muzzle brake on the end. Thanks to Stefan for popping that out. The stock is thickened, as you might imagine. They had to make these a little more rigid to withstand automatic fire, and it has a barely sort of visible. There we go. We've got a mark on the side with an A there, and its production year, and a 15-round mag to support said automatic fire. Oh, and we're empty. These things apparently were not good on the battlefield. They were not durable enough for automatic fire. And I think I read something along the lines that if fired rapidly, they'd basically just like blow out the rifling on the barrel inside of like 200 shots. But I think it was something like after 1942, technically all of the SVTs that came off the line were AVTs. It's just a lot of people didn't actually fire them in full auto. So this is in here. A little bit of extra firepower for our World War II take and hold characters and a little more capacity. I have always found this to be a handsome rifle, and I've never fired the AVT in real life, but I fired the SVT, and I quite enjoyed it. But our bigger toy, long requested for this week, after firing one in Vegas, I finally decided to get a PKM in here. Yes, that's right. This absolutely massive thing. Let's spawn lock that, clip that on here. So I had to actually do a couple little support features for this. This is not a perfectly accurate implementation of this at the moment. Technically speaking, a PKM has a sort of dual feed system where what happens is as the bolt moves back, it sort of strips the round backwards into this sort of like holding shelf, and then as the bolt comes forward, it slides it in. As we can't even see that happen because the top cover would be down, I did not implement that, in part because I was going to do a full release this week, and I didn't want to risk accidentally breaking all the open bolt mod guns. So I will actually go back and make that code modification later for, the 3 people who ever fire this momentarily with the top cover up. But I don't want to risk it this week, just because it'll be a little while until we do another main branch release. But anyway, so we've got pull the belt up. Obviously, in real life, this uses a non-disintegrating belt, but in H3, we don't have loose belt chains and things like that. So this just is inaccurately using a disintegrating belt like all LMGs in H3. Let's pull out our tripod here. This thing was quite a hoot. I'll talk about what it was like to fire it later when we actually get into that. Let's get on down here. Let's get our support hand up. Wonderful. As you can see, the little thing that I basically added into the open bolt guns to support this is that we've got these little flaps that pop out when we firing the little the belt piece and ejecting our empties there. Oh, that is fun. And then this little part that was even more annoying to do, which let's undo that, making it so that that actually rotates out when the belt is present there, and actually clips, because this is under some spring pressure from what I could tell, when there isn't actually a belt in it. Just beastly 200 round belt box. I can only imagine. I mean, when I was firing this at Battlefield Vegas, after I shot it, because they have it actually, you fire it on basically a supported fixed mount, because they don't want anyone breaking the thing, because it's so front heavy. I decided to just like pick it up and sort of like pull it up to the shoulder to see how doable that would be, if as many video games have it. And then I'm going to say if I were at war and tried to do that, I would definitely die before I hit anything with it. So this is quite a front-heavy beast in real life. Okay, there we go. I wanted to fire it all the way down to the belt so you could see the little clippy thing that I implemented. There we go. Functionality demonstrated. So there you go, the absolutely massive PKM. I hope it is worth it. I'll be frank, this is not the most gorgeous model that I've ever put in the game, but LMGs are always really difficult to find models for, in part because of the fact that they're just so mechanically complex, and it's very difficult to find good reference for the sort of all the stuff that is visible once you flip the top cover up. And so it has been my observation that 3D artists avoid them like the plague. So there's just not many. What is going on here? What is this tiny piece? Oh, I know. That's a reference point that was in there for when I was calibrating the our sight ladder. The other irritating thing to do. Yeah, I always place a reference cube. Yep, that's what that is. I will delete that before pushing the update. Yeah, I don't end up doing a ton of LMGs because, like, the belt stuff is time consuming to do, and they always have some weird piece of functionality to them. And then when you add in a ladder sight, the amount of time that it takes to calibrate this for a 16 position ladder sight so that it's actually accurate, not that anyone's actually shooting off of irons for something 800 meters away, but well, for the couple of you who take one of these into the Arizona range and like to shoot at that range with irons, this one should be nice and calibrated and ready for you. Cool. Well, let's jump out of VR and take a look at some machine gun shooting silliness. Yo! So I'm going to just jump right into showing video directly. I'll narrate over a few things and give my thoughts sort of later in it, but I thought it would be fun to just start off by just showing some direct video from the event. For some quick context, for those of you who've never been to something like this, in Vegas, and I'm sure in many other parts of the US as well, there are firing ranges that sort of like run as like pseudo attractions for firing machine guns. It's a little more managed of an experience than a lot of shooting ranges are, where they're just like, hey, here's your rental gun, here's your boxes of ammo, because obviously I think it's like legally they have to remain like in possession of it because it's a class 3 firearm, but also just for like safety. A lot of people who've never fired a machine gun before are gonna like be prone to shooting the ceiling. So you're going to see a bunch of footage in here from when we went to American Shooters last week, where a bunch of folks rented some machine guns to fire. A couple fine folks brought rifles that they had, and I brought a couple of my like weird antiques. So let's just jump right in.
What's up, nerds? About to get some hot dogs and then go shooting over there.
Wide video of everyone. How's it going, guys? Say hi, Discord.
Hi, Discord.
Got some full auto fire happening. I don't know how anybody hits anything in full auto. It's ridiculous.
Nice.
Y'all got typewriter.
Dog.
Can I get a picture?
Big guy, what do you think?
That thing kicks. That thing kicks. Yeah. That was fun as hell. That was
Malfunction.
Too much, catch the grass on the way out.
I got it.
The exceptionally reliable Vector, everyone. Well done.
Ready?
Here we are shooting a pea shooter.
The venue we're all shooting at here, American Shooters, was really perfect for this type of meetup because I both wanted to, be in a place where folks could rent machine guns and shoot them off, but also being able to, bring a couple of my own things to share to shoot because that just sounded fun. And most places that do the kind of like machine gun rental stuff, especially in Vegas, that's all they do. Probably because of their like insurance policy and the way they want to run the space. But this venue allowed for both, which was really fun because I, of course, like all of my like goofy antique guns, like I've got a Walther PP here from 1942. I've got a couple folks are firing my Colt 1908, and I also brought my Remington Model 4 rolling block, which is firing 22 CB short, just about the tiniest thing you can possibly imagine. You have to kind of like wait until no one else is shooting. When you shoot it in an environment like this, you're not even going to hear it. Joe, composer on H3, seen dancing here, brought some game industry friends as well as his tricked out Glock. Had a great time shooting that as well.
This was wonderful.
A couple folks were also gracious enough to bring their own rifles to share. Fired an AR here, and maybe the smoothest firing AK. I think it was a KR-103 with just a really, really nice furniture setup, micro prism on it. Just an absolute delight to shoot. Immediately wanted one for myself. And of course, it wouldn't have been a complete H3 meetup if I wasn't forced to fire the F2000.
I feel like we should document the entire process of suffering, given that this is my punishment. You gotta counterbalance the fun you've had
Off
today,
to a
right?
great start. What a strange magazine. There we go.
He feels up loving it.
Well, I mean, it's what he said. There was a devlog where he said he had. Maybe in 5 years he'll wind up owning an F2000. You never know.
I think I'll be 21 by the time it's done.
I must admit, given that I'm such an FN fanboy, I do want to own a Scar someday.
Okay.
Even though it's so overpriced for what it is.
Yeah.
But
Just be cool and get an FAL instead.
oh my God! One of the times I went to Vegas, I fired their FAL, and it was one of the ones with polymer furniture. It was as light as a FAL gets. That hurt. As I literally get my hair stuck in the mag. This is perfect.
Yeah, you're documenting the whole thing.
How terrible. Oh, I'm gonna regret this. I regret this already. Have you guys all been having fun?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Having a blast.
This has been great. That makes me so happy to hear. All right.
This gun, let's go.
You all made me do this. Just weird. All right. Ugh. Here we go. It gets on fire. Were we not sealed?
Now you gotta fix a jam with the tiny loading port.
Oh my God.
All according to plan.
What was it, a double feed?
So you think after this experience you're gonna like it anymore?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yeah, that's as seated as it gets. That released way too easy. This whole thing's loose. There we go, 3 in a row. It just feels gross.
You can try to like it.
Is that another malfunction? Oh my God.
That is a...
It's 2 malfunctions. Okay. Thanks, Joe.
Have a good day.
Good day.
The malfunction count is at 2.
Do me one favor. Push that target out farther.
Okay.
10 yards for me. Thank you.
He's spitting shit in my face.
You could be here a while.
Yeah, he rented it. Anton will be dead before he owns one of these.
Terrible. Just terrible.
Well, round of applause on facing his fears.
I still hate it. Still hate it. I actually I bought enough ammo to go through 2 mags and realized that the mag I'd been given was like had a super spongy follower, and so someone actually gave me like a tight brand new Stanag, and I think I got 3 rounds into it, suffered a bunch more malfunctions, and just
It's good.
done.
You're giving up.
Overall, though, the meetup went better than I could have hoped. You always worry when you put on an event like this that a bunch of people, especially if it's in some distant place, like 15 people are going to sign up and then like 0 show up or 2 people show up or something like that. I was just blown away by how many of you even came out. Not everyone was visible in these videos. I didn't think to actually get some video earlier on when we were just getting the hot dogs. I think I was just overwhelmed, honestly. We had like 3 or 4 more people, I think, than are visible in the videos here. But it was just a delightful event, and I just want to thank so much to everyone who ended up showing out for it. But after this event, I was talking with Zach, the developer of Vertigo and Vertigo 2, who you saw here, and he had not gotten enough machine gun shooting. So I was like, you know what? I'm driving back to LA on Friday. How about we just get up early and just go over to Battlefield Vegas? They've got a wider selection, and just go shoot before heading home. And so here's some video from that. Yeah, malfunction!
First try.
The one downside about the wide selection is that obviously just keeping all these old guns running, at any given moment, a number of things are just down for repairs at Battlefield Vegas. And because I'm not just like the average person coming in being like, I want to shoot a 416, I want to shoot an AK. Without fail, I will always ask for something weird or old in the back and suffer a malfunction firing it and then have to get a replacement for it. So the gun I started with this time, the MP18, it just, I don't know, someone's probably wrong with the firing pin or something like that, but it would not fire. And so I ended up switching over and shooting an MP28 instead, which was also a delight.
Good, yeah?
I love it. I love the smoothness of everything about it. The way it sort of like pushes you back.
Okay, next up we have the 1928.
Go ahead, rack it back once you're ready.
Same with this one, alright? No, this one is automatic. Okay. Right, left, to that shoulder.
I told Zach if we were shooting machine guns, he had to shoot at least one old one. And so he ended up pulling a Bren out, which is just a personal favorite of mine.
Sweet. How'd you like that, man? Awesome.
What do you think of that?
That was great.
We're also super fortunate to be standing right next to a group who are taking turns sending a round down range out of the 50 there. What do you think of the 50?
That was a shockwave that hit me. That wasn't a noise.
Which in an indoor range is an experience.
APC 9, this will be semi. One more flip over for full auto, okay? Then you have a red dot right here.
Nope.
Thank you.
Photo with it? Yes, sir. Let me
Just such a night and day difference from the old.
Hold on tight, it is faster.
Really fast cyclic rate.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
That is a hoot.
The APC-9 Pro was a little surprising, truth be told. I hadn't actually looked up its stats beforehand. Fired way faster than I expected to. It was, especially with how like lightweight and how compact it is, that is just an angry little thing. I know like SMGs like this are typically designed to be, you know, for people in the backfield, vehicle crews, things like that. But I can't imagine, unless you were trading with this constantly, that you would be expected to actually be effective in hitting something with this on full auto. Because it just, between the bolt mass, as I said, how lightweight it is, how fast it fires, this thing did not feel terribly controllable. So Zach has an AK in Vertigo 2, so of course we needed to have him fire the real thing. But when I saw which one they brought out, because they got like 20 of these things here, I was like, oh no, because they brought him a metal underfolder, which is just about the meanest, least pleasant one to fire imaginable, because you're losing a bunch of weight from and not having a full wood stock, and also that butt pad is not terribly pleasant to fire, so you can see it beats Zach up a little bit here.
Fire again.
How's that, man? Good. Yeah, not as much as I thought it would be. Yeah. It's only 5.56. It's just 5.56.
You want to shoot your second mag off, or?
Sure, yeah, I'll do a second. It's definitely going to leave a bruise.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect.
Alright, brother. There's still an automatic right there, in case you didn't want to know more.
Lean in. Lean in.
How'd you like that?
That's
I
great.
think you got him, man. Very good shooting.
Perfect. Excited for this.
Look at all the cool optics.
HK51.
Alright, brother. It is a semi right now.
It's so short.
Yep.
Looks like my fingers are gonna get singed from that.
No. Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
Very good on that. Right, you want a photo of this one, man?
It's crazy, bro.
That's like gonna vibrate the
concussive,
fillings
dude.
out.
Get that way for me.
Really hold it, okay?
I'll take that from you.
I see somebody get lifted by this one.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm just gonna do 2 taps to start.
Yep.
The HK51, which they call the G3 hammer there, was everything that I hoped it would be. I knew I was in trouble when I picked it up, and I was like, oh, this is lighter weight than I expected, cut down to this. But just an absolute brain rattler. 10 out of 10, no notes.
Oh, that's a ride. Oh, that's not too bad. Oh. Huh. Probably held it too loose.
Baby, I'm I'm not sure.
Or
It
it's
has.
bad.
Honestly, this one kind of does that a little bit. So.
Interesting. Way more pushy than I expect. It isn't very sharp.
No. How'd you like that?
It's so bulky.
I finally got around to shooting a SPAS 12. Have always wanted to. I was a little sad I couldn't fire it in pump, but apparently it's just so unreliable when being cycled that way. A lot of people don't even have the arm strength to do it well. So fired it in semi. I was expecting it to really chew my shoulder up, but was probably, I don't know, because of its weight or something about its operating mechanism, was surprisingly smooth to shoot. It's fun to fiddle with. Yeah, just a delight.
Last gun of the day.
Last time you came.
What'd you say?
How long have the been since you've been here?
Probably like 2-ish years.
Okay.
Pretty good. You gave him no warning shots.
This is like my 6th or 7th time. I've been slowly shooting my way through your collection. So.
Oh, that's fun. A bunch of the heavier guns like the PKM here, they have folks fire from like a fixed mount just because they don't want people damaging them. But I did get to play around with it a little bit after firing it just to like feel the weight, because like there's so many games where you can just freestanding shoulder something this large, run through a field while shouldering them. And I just wanted to see exactly how impractical that felt. And this one, honestly, out of all of the sort of medium machine guns that I've held, was felt the most front heavy. I'm sure part of that was just the mount that they used for the fixed mount, adding a bit of weight, but definitely felt very bulky to hold. Really, really cool though. Oh, wow. The absolute cherry on the sundae of the whole trip though was, probably because I've been there enough times, I got invited to head on back to the vault of Battlefield Vegas and just see, you know, what everything, you see, I've always been curious how big the collection is, how much redundancy do you have to build into a firearm collection when you run a place like this. And, you know, just like I had never before walked into an entire room of machine guns like this, and I must admit, deep down to my nerd soul, it was moderately overwhelming. It was just the absolute coolest thing. Yeah, as I said before, like they have such a wide selection. They have some super rare stuff. So just getting to see like, oh wow, even though they've got 20 of this and 15 of this, they actually really only have one of various sorts of rarities in their collections. They're like, their STG back there is just like a Franken STG in terms of the parts on it, but just like looks super cool. They've got like a couple Nambus back there. But yeah, it was wild to be able to take a look at, fiddle with a whole bunch of stuff back there. Yeah, perfect trip. Absolutely perfect trip. So there you have it. Thanks for, if you're still watching, thanks for hanging out and watching the most extensive range trip devlog I've ever done. Doing the meetup, as I said, was like just a tremendous success. I'm honestly considering doing like a mini one or two other possible places. I'm taking a trip to the Northeast, late March, early April. If I end up like finding a range I want to visit around then, I will probably mention it ahead of time here on the devlog or in the Discord or something like that. Probably won't do like a big formal thing, but it definitely, yeah, there was something really delightful about meeting up with some of you folk, you know, in a context that we all enjoy, you know, around this subject matter that we are all obsessed about. But it definitely encouraged me to do this again, and just like the range trips in all obviously inspired me. I went, fired a PKM, and I was like, all right, it's time to get that in the game. Firing the HK51 was great, because when I was implementing that in game, I was like, I don't know, maybe I've overdone the recoil and intensity of firing this. Nope, turns out didn't. That was exactly how that should behave in a game. So it's just always wonderful to take these trips, to try out new things and get inspired for future things that I'm implementing, as well as get sort of assumptions that I had about things, confirmed or overridden. So like I certainly would have never expected the APC 9 in full auto to be quite just as jarring of, and sharp of an experience as it ended up being. And that'll probably inform a whole bunch of things for me in the future as well. So anywho, I hope you folks all have yourselves a wonderful weekend. I hope, one last thing. For this update, I have gone back into the beta branches tab and I'm removing the branch called prior main version. I'm renaming that one to update 110, and I'm going to keep an update 111 there. I'm going to start doing this as a general practice of keeping just full main branch releases back in the betas tab in case you have some incompatible mods and there needs to be more time to get things migrated over, just to smooth the process anytime I do a big main branch push. So in case you end up loading up the game and are like, where did prior main branch version go? It's just been renamed into something more specific. So, and obviously next week we're going to start off with another alpha cycle. Hopefully this should be a shorter one. It's going to be focused on some stuff related to optics and hopefully getting another sandbox level into the game in the next couple weeks before I end up going on another trip a month from now. I'm heading to Northeast. I'm driving across the Midwest to Northeast to visit a whole bunch of family and friends. So I'll be gone for like 2 weeks for that. But before that trip, I've got time to do a couple weekly updates. We're going to do a real efficient, tight, compact alpha cycle for update 113. And hope you're all excited for that. I know I am. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend, and I'll see y'all soon. Peace.